Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Impact. It's a new year. It's a new year. Wonderful time. We are having with our brother here in our studio. I'm your host, Paul Machevele, and our guest here is Ntsako Chauke. Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm well, and you?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah.
You are known by the name Trumpet.
Yeah, that's a well-known name.
You are known by the name Trumpet. Everyone on Facebook knows the Trumpet. Yeah. So today we have in our studio today our brother here. He's going to share with us his conversion experience and what happened to him. So, yes, Brother Ntsako, before we begin, can you please introduce yourself?
All right. My name is Ntsako Chauke, known by the name of Trumpet. I have a YouTube channel or ministry called Trumpet Ministry. You can find it on YouTube. So I am now I'm an evangelist, qualified one.
Okay.
Yes, but there are the other things that I need to complete.
Okay.
I'm just left with internship.
Okay.
So yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, nice to have you. Nice to have you. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. So, just to begin, how did you like grow up? What type of family did you grow up in?
I grew up in a family which was not even an Adventist.
Okay.
I myself, obviously, was not an Adventist.
Okay.
My family was, it was a confusion, basically. But as far as I know, when I was born, my family were attending the church called 12 Apostolic Church, or the 12 Apostle,
Okay.
the one where they turn around.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Where they turn around. So that was the church which I was attending when I was still young, when I was a newborn baby, and that's where I got the name Ntsako, meaning joy. They were very joyful that day, as they tell me. I'm the firstborn in my mother's womb.
Okay.
So they were very happy, and then they gave me that name. So the reason why I said that my family was like a confusion when it comes to religion.
Okay.
Is because we're not only going to church we're not worshiping the God of heaven only.
Okay.
There was also another gods which we were worshiping. So my family believed in the God of heaven, and they also believed in the gods which are underneath the earth.
Oh.
So because of that, it was basically a confusion, because some other days when situations are tough at home, my grandmother, she will call a prophet to come and assist. And then if the prophet failed to assist us, she will opt for another option, which was calling a sango to come and assist. Sometimes she will go to sangomas to speak to those who are dead, so that they may tell us why are they troubling us. So sangomas will come and they sprinkle the water on the fences and in the house. So there was a lot of things, scary things that were happening. So prophets would be coming in and out. She was known. She was a friend of prophet, not one prophet, and friend of many sangomas. So everyone was just coming, depending on the situation. And she prayed a lot. That was surprising. She was a serious prayer warrior, because we used to go to a mountain and fast for days without eating anything or drinking anything. And just me and her. Then we come back, pray. So I learned from her that you need to pray in the morning. Pray. She did not have times for prayer. Every time she would be praying. So prayer, she got it right. However, the other things was not was not together. There was a lot of confusion in her mind. So that's how I grew up in that type of a family. I was not raised by all my parents. I was basically raised by my grandmother.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
and my grandmother was very strict when it comes to how I behave. She will beat you properly if you misbehave. So yeah, so she used to lock me in the house, not in the house. I mean, I was not allowed to go out of the fence. So I was supposed to stay there. So I will see other children playing, but I will not even dare to go out unless if I'm sent to go out. So I did not have privilege of playing with other children because of that. And she was very rigid when it comes to that. And then if I make any mistake or I go out maybe tending the flock, if I make a mistake there, because I remember last one, I once tried to be naughty. I went to someone's field and I chopped all the watermelons of in that field, all the watermelons, chopped them into half. So when the person I thought he didn't see me, but he saw me and I ran. So because I was still out there trying to feed the flock and so forth, so the message reached home before I got home. So when I got home already, my grandmother, she knew the situation. She was told. And then she had a strategy. She would send me to go and fetch something which she has hidden. So that while I'm still looking, she's now coming, and all the sticks were ready in the house. So she will beat me until all those sticks break, all of them, until she gets tired. So she would beat me up to 2 hours, 3 hours. She did not get tired of beating. So yeah, it was quite something like that when I was growing up, and many people were feeling pity for me because it was kind of like abusive. I felt like she was not being fair. Others are not going through what I was going through. They were not being beaten, even when they do things which are notorious. They were not beaten by their parents. So I thought that she did not love me. I thought that she did not love me really. Yeah. So that's basically how I grew up. My grandmother was the one who was raising me.
Yeah. That was interesting, I tell you.
Yeah.
No, that
But
was interesting.
but to praise the Lord that it's only now that I realize how that type of her behavior towards me, how strict she was, or that strictness, how beneficial it was for me. So I only realized now as I'm old. So I thought, this is not fair. You wish like you were. I hated her. I really did not like her like at all. Especially when I do something wrong, I knew that there's no peace here. I'm going to be beaten. And it was not normal. Everything that she was doing was not normal. But now, since I'm old, I'm able to appreciate that background. That although it was not an absolute or proper in everything, but at least it shaped my life. Because when I look at my life, there's a vast difference between me and other children that I grew up with. Instead of me becoming notorious, I changed as time goes on, became a good child. Of course, to her, I was not a good child, but to the surroundings, the community, they saw me as the best child. When it comes to respect, I was seen as the best child in the village. Yeah, but her, she was not seeing that. So even when others are seeing me as the best child, she will still beat me. So yeah, that's how I was raised.
Wow. Wow. No, that is very interesting to hear. So then, in this environment, the faith environment that you were in, how was your experience? How did you find it as you were busy with it? So you were only, what's this, the Apostolic Church,
Yeah.
and then because your grandmother was going to the Apostolic Church, so when she was also involved in what we call spiritualism, as you are mentioning, to say she would visit Tangomas, and depending on what type of assistance she needs, and how did that shape you? How did you find that environment for you?
Uh, that was basically the life, I didn't know how to differentiate which one is wrong or right.
Mm.
So everything to me was right. And I believe if the Lord didn't come through, it was not going to be an issue for me to visit the Sangha because that's what was being done at home. So home influence is very powerful. So in my life, basically, most of my life, there was a time before I had knowledge of myself. I got sick, like even unto death, as they explained. But the one who helped me, they said it's Sangom. That's what they believed it. And even after now, when I had knowledge of knowing that this is a Sangom, Nyanga, this is a prophet, still, there was a time I was sick, I had big wound. They called the Sangom to assist me with that regard. So because of that assistance, I did not see anything wrong because I'm being helped here. When I'm sick, I get healed.
Yes.
And they're saying that when you're a child, you almost died, and the Sangoma helped you. So obvious how I was shaped is these things is right, it's helpful. And obviously when I meet challenges, where to go to find solution, that was the place to find a solution.
It was a primary solution.
Yeah, it was a primary solution.
That's what you know anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what you're exposed to. So there's I know, I clearly get what you're saying. So then what happened, and then how did you change from that religion? What happened?
So I did not only attend that church, I tried other churches, but there was another church that I wanted to try, but I never really wanted to try.
Okay, yeah, like what was the motivation to switch around? And
It was just the confusion, when you're still young.
okay.
So there's another thing that I liked the most, which was music. So there were other churches, Abazalwani, others which play organs.
Yes.
So when I hear the organs and people singing and dancing, such things will call me. So I will just go just to visit them and seeing people falling there, even demons. But myself, I wasn't falling. I did not understand what was going on there.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I just like the music because in those churches, I did not really get even the message. So me going there was just the music and dancing. I just wanted such life. So then the one that I did not even dare to attend was the ZCC one. Even though I think that I had a relative who was a ZCC, but when I look at that church, I did not understand everything that they do in terms of this dress, it's hot, and this macaque or whatever. It was just, they look abnormal to me. They looked abnormal. Even at school, most of those people who were attending ZCC church, they were not normal children like other children. Somehow they were notorious. Somehow they were not mentally fine. So all those things, and the belief that was around the church to say if you go to that church and they give you a badge, if you remove that badge, you're going to get crease. So you see, all those things was just like, don't go there. So I never even tried. And also the manner in which they were dancing was also abnormal because they were jumping up and hitting the ground and all those things. It has never appealed to my taste of religion. So I never really wanted to. Then there came a time when I attended Presbyterian.
Okay.
So now Presbyterian Church, I attended it because most of my relatives were attending that church.
Okay.
And number two, the church was helpful in terms of food.
Okay.
And I grew up, we're poor. We're very broke at home. So because of that, the poverty, that church was helpful than the apostolic one because they were not assisting in anything. There was no church which was assisting. So that church was the only one which was really assisting. They would buy us food at the end of the month and all those things. So to me, it was like, oh, this is the good church in there. However, I was not satisfied with the things that were done inside because in that church, Presbyterian, I think I attended it for several years, but everything that you do in that church is written in the book. So what I mean is,
Yeah, I want to understand that.
when a person go in front to say, let's stand up, or to greet, everything is written. To say, greetings, church, it's written down. To say we're singing hymn number 184, it's written down. And the hymn is there, the hymnal. So everything was just written down. The sermon for the past was just in the book. So the book is big. I think those books are given per quarter. Yeah. So you're just there, and then you just stand up, like, in the military setup. Yeah, that's the behavior of that church, basically. You're not flexible. You just do what is written. So the preacher stood, the pastor, the sermon is there. The verse is written there, and then it's quoted. So you quote the verse, they reads, they usually read the Old Testament, they reads, then they pray, and then we're done, you go out. So it was 1 hour, 30 minutes. That was the duration of the the time we're spending there inside the church. So
What church is this?
Presbyterian.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. So many people that I attended the church with, somehow they started going back because they were not being satisfied. There was nothing fulfilling in that church because you're not learning, you're not challenged. There's not, you're just there. Then so it happens that as the time goes on, attending the church, they started reading the 10 Commandments. It was written in the book. So as they were reading the 10 Commandments, I was just interested in this law which they read, which says, "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy." And they show that this is quoted from Exodus 20, verse 11. Verse 8 to 11. So when they read that law, somehow, which I believe the Holy Spirit was just traveling me in my mind to say, this is speaking about the Sabbath, but this church was not known as the Sabbath, the Presbyterian. In my village, it was known all over that there's a church called Sabbath because they were going to church on Sabbath. We didn't know these other names, we just knew that one of Sabbath. So when they read that law, it was a challenge to my mind. However, I didn't act upon it. I left it hanging. I believe it was an initiative from the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Then as time goes on, there was a crusade which was held near to my home.
Okay.
The crusade was held by that church, the Sabbath church. Then it happens that I did not attend it, but one day during the week, I attended the church. I think it was Tuesday. Went to the church, sat there, and they gave us the hymnals, Then I was reading, so I was able to follow. And they were singing nice music. And remember, in Presbyterian, we also use hymnal. So now here's the Sabbath church, which also use hymnal.
Okay.
But these hymnals, these ones, they were more nicer. And with the organ there, everything was the organ was different from other churches that I attended.
Okay.
People were not dancing. They were just singing the music. It was like heaven type of. So it was just because remember I said music appeals to me like a lot. So what I did is I stole those papers where they printed the music on. I stole them. I went back home, but I never attended that crusade again until it got finished. I never went back.
Wow.
Then I stay with the music. I never even visited the music. I just put it there. That day I was touched. So it ended there. Then the schools closed. I went to other villages. And by the way, I was someone who used to dance. So I just want this part of music for the viewers there to know or understand that
Mm.
music appealed to me more.
Mm.
So I was someone who used to practice dancing, the
Mm.
style,
Mm.
until when I go out there and dance, people will be like, wow. So there was no way that I could dance in a party and people don't give me money.
Mm.
So I will dance and people give me money. So in order for me to do that, to perfect, I needed to practice.
Oh,
So I
okay.
used to spend hours
Wow.
practicing, dancing, and trying to find which song, and how do I fit in this style.
Mm.
So music played a significant role in a sense that I will even jump the first fence at night when I hear that there's a party. I did not need to be invited to be in the party.
Mm.
So our parties here in the Tsonga area, they usually happens at night. That's where they got hot.
Mm.
We say in Tsonga, yashesha now.
Yes, yes, yeah, sure, yeah.
So that's where it gets hot and nice.
Mm.
So I will jump the fence and go out and dance and dance and dance and dance and dance and dance and come back, and my grandmother, she locked the house. Then I will knock and knock and knock. She keeps quiet. She don't respond.
Mm.
And then I will sleep outside. Then maybe later, around 1 or 12 midnight, she will wake up
Mm.
and come and find me sleeping out there,
Mm.
outside, near the door.
Mm.
She will hit me hard with a stick.
Mm.
And then she tells me to come in. Then I get in, I sleep. Before I wake up, she will be busy with me, beating me.
Mm.
Why did I go there? So I will, even after I was beaten, still, if there's another part,
Mm.
I will still jump the fence
Mm.
and go out.
Mm.
When I come back, I knew that she locked. Then I came up with strategy to say, you know what, I'll just sleep on top of the tree. So when she wakes up and she'll see me on the tree, she will be hurt. Because in her mind, she thinks that I will fall down and break and all those things.
No matter which was true, I don't understand. I don't understand how you did it, but anyway.
Then I saw that, okay, this doesn't work. What should I do? So I will sleep in someone's house. Then I wake up very early in the morning and come back and climb the tree to act like I was sleeping on the tree. Then she will get hurt, but I wasn't sleeping on the tree. Then the other time, I woke up early. As I was coming in, she saw me coming, and I saw through the wind that she was opening the wind, and I knew that she found me. So even if she was beating me, the music was, I was so obsessed with music. So then later on, when I came back from the school holiday, because remember I left the crusade, I just attended once, I stole the music thing, and then I never even visited it.
So what touched you with hymns? I mean, those are hymns, and it's very different. I mean, Shangan music, Shangan music can uproot a tree. Shangan music can uproot a tree. It's so loud. There's no way. It's made for dancing and furious type of dancing. So yeah, like then the switch to you enjoying hymns is like.
Yeah, it's something that I can't really explain. How did I love hymns? I believe that the Lord in my life was calling me. It was the work of the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
Because without the work of the Holy Spirit, I don't see a way of loving such music. So what was happening in my life during that same time, when I came back from the school holiday, when the school opened, when I went back to the school, I remember myself stealing the Bible from someone's house. Of course, they were relatives. So I got there was a Bible outside. I said, these people there. So I stole the Bible. So when I went to school, I would sometimes I would read the Bible. So when I was reading the Bible, the book of Psalms, Proverbs, somehow tears would just roll on my face. I don't really understand the verse, but when I read it, I will be touched. So that's what was happening. So that I can't explain what exactly that was happening because I can't even remember even the verse that I read, which was touching me, but I will be touched. So I respected religious stuff basically. Somehow I used to respect religious stuff. I used to be sometimes notorious, going around beating people and all those things, fighting, joining gangsters, But when it comes to religious service, whether it's at school, wherever I was, I will not be notorious. So with the hymnals, these ones were quite different because the message was the one which was speaking the most. Because the song that remains in my mind is the one of Near the Cross.
Okay.
Jesus, keep me near the cross.
Yes.
This song was touching me a lot.
Yes.
So I remember those words, Jesus, keep me near the cross. And then I remember those movies that we were watching of Jesus being crucified.
Okay.
All those things. So when I watched that movie, I would be hurt and cry. Say, "Hey, why did they do this to Jesus?"
Okay.
All those
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's basically the knowledge that I had by then. So that's basically what attracted me. I think you can say the message.
So what grade were you when this was happening?
I was just in grade 7.
So you're still in primary school.
All this was happening while I was still in primary.
So okay, but the crusade was maybe when you were in high school?
No, the crusade happens when I was still in primary. So I was somewhere in grade 6 when the crusade happened. Because the following year,
Wow.
actually, I was in grade 7. Yes, I was in grade. So everything that I'm talking about happens when I was in grade 7.
So you were still a child, man. Wow.
Yeah, so I was basically still very young. So what happens is that music.
So even when you took the Bible.
Yeah, when I stole the Bible and went with it, I was still in grade 7. And surprisingly, it was in grade 6 and 7 when I started rising in terms of performance at school, where even the teachers were surprised. What's going on? I was basically someone who was, even before, this is before I even joined the church. This was just everything that I'm explaining, the events that are taking place, the music, and also what was left.
Even the jumping of the yard and whatnot was happening while you were still in.
Yeah, I was still young. That's why she was able to beat me.
and then you would, wow.
Yeah, I was very, very young. There's one thing that I wanted, which I didn't do. Although in same time when I was still young, I wanted a girlfriend. Obvious, if you're dancing,
yes,
we're attending parties,
yes,
because we formed the squad, we're like a team of dancing when we were known. So they will call us even to other neighbor villages to come and dance, pay for our transportation. So obvious, when you go out, all my friends, they were dating, they had girlfriends. I was the only one who did not have. So I would desire to have one. And remember, everything was happening at night, in the evening, like the party sticks. We will dance during the day, of course, and then during the day you just spot a lady, and then at night you will go to the lady to to propose and so forth.
Yeah.
So they were good, all of them, and you'll find that everywhere we go, they have a girlfriend in that village. You go to this village, the girlfriend, you go to this village. I did not understand how they will manage it, so I desired also to have a girlfriend.
Yes.
However, I was so afraid. Okay. I really feared the woman. I don't know how, the heart wants, I want this to be my girlfriend. But what am I going to say to her?
Okay.
To say I love you, and I didn't know where to start.
Okay.
So that was an issue. So I used to ask my friends to go and propose for me. So they will go and he will speak for me. It was very good. Then he comes back and says, now you can go. But he doesn't tell me what he said, the way he stopped, because she's waiting for me. She said, call him to come and speak for himself. Now, when I got there, I will just say, I love you. And then she rejected my proposal. And because of that, I didn't know how to beg. So when she rejected, just leave it.
Okay.
She doesn't love me.
Okay.
Then I go back. Then they said, yeah, what happened? I said, she said she doesn't love me. And when we're going, we will plan that if you come back without a girlfriend, we're going to make fun of you, the whole chain.
Okay.
So I found that the whole joint, they were making fun of me. And I did not like being, like, for someone to make fun of me. So I will get hurt. And if I'm afraid of a person, I will just cry. But if I'm not afraid, you'll be beaten.
Fight back.
Yeah.
Hey, what an interesting story.
So I didn't get the girlfriend. It was tough. I tried, I failed. They orchestrated events where I was supposed to sleep with someone. The lady agreed and his girlfriend. But when I was there, I refused to sleep with the girl because of not obvious reasons, because not that I didn't want, but it was because she was fat. Yeah, I remember someone was asking me if I can marry a fat woman. I said, hey, it's tough.
I know the Lord will bless you. Eh? He will get one. Even if she's not fat, you will become one. But this
Yeah, no, I really hated the fat woman. So that was the reason why I didn't sleep with it. It was too big.
Okay.
So you see how small I was too small. I was young, remember, still in primary. So when I look at her, it was like, this is a mother. And she was even younger than me, but she was a mother to me. So that was the only thing that nothing happens there. It was not because I was religious and so forth. Yeah. So the Lord, I can say, protected me.
Yeah, he was.
From that life, because
Yeah,
if
he was.
I continue with those friends somehow, because the heart was there, I was just failing, I will get to a time where I will man up to say I can now speak for myself. So I was failing. There was fear in me, which I believe the Lord placed it there to say, be afraid for this. And also for my grandmother, making sure that I don't go outside. So I did not have that, notorious, which is to that extent where you can actually propose a girl and sleep around. That life was.
It will be very difficult because normally boys are not monitored that much. But then you know that girls are the ones that are monitored.
They're the ones that are monitored.
Too much, actually.
Yeah.
They get followed everywhere they go. So you get to see that. So with you, it was almost the opposite. It was almost difficult for you to do that. Wow.
So yeah, then I was just presenting that part of my life. I was not only I was a dancer. I wanted that life of girlfriends playing around. It didn't work because of the fear, and at the same time, the music, the music of the church is coming with full force in my mind. I remember I was home. I went back to that script. This was around September. Because when I go to Presbyterian, remember, I'm still attending Presbyterian at this time.
Okay.
So when I got there, somehow they were reading those 10 commandments, maybe once a while, maybe once in a month or twice. They will read those 10 commandments. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not whatever. They will start actually from the first one. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. You should not bow unto idols. The second law, third law, don't play with the name of the Lord. And then the third one, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Honor your parents. Thou shalt not kill, up until the 10th commandment. And then we respond, Amen. So
was it some type of a Bible study?
No, it's not. There's no such thing of Bible study. No. You get there.
Okay.
There are those others, and you're singing, they're saying whatever they're saying, then you get the sermon, you go home, you're done. So there was no time for Bible study. There was no time even to go to a pastor to ask. So there was no such things. So there was that distant relationship really when it comes to whether you should ask a question. It was just a formal thing where you just do, you worship, you go home. So that's why I was troubled. So there was no opportunity even to ask a question. So
because my background is very different. I don't even think of a church where we don't read the Bible, where I don't understand what then are we doing when we are there. So, and the sermons are scripted as well.
Yeah.
It would really trouble me. At this point, of course, that would be a problem.
Yeah, no. Because it makes you just you are rigid, really. You are not motivated to read the Bible, really. There's no motivation. Because even the pastor is just reading a story, he preaches. So there's no challenge to study the Bible. There's nothing like that. So we're just normal Christians, just the Christian.
I remember there was this one church I attended, that one I attended it and I didn't understand anything. When they said, let's pray, I closed my eyes to pray, and then I found someone nudged me and said, hey. Then, oh, okay. Wow. Oh, so we pray with our eyes open. Okay, fine. Then what is going on here? I didn't even understand anything. And then we sang a few songs, and then after that we went out, and that was it. So there was not much that I can say really would hook me and things like that. Wow, what an experience!
So that was my experience. But then, as I explained, that now the music came with full force. I was in grade 7. Now it was September now. So in September, a lot happened there because the music came with full force in my mind. I went back to search for those songs. And by the way, when I came back from school holiday, I found that my grandmother and my young brother, they were now attendees of that church, the Sabbath church. They were, as a result of that crusade, my grandmother got baptized.
Okay.
So her and my young brother, they will attend that church. So I was the only one in the family who was going to the Presbyterian now.
Okay.
So they will receive food through me, not because they are attending the church, but because I'm attending the church, at least they will still get the food.
Wow.
So what was happening is confusion continued in in the house. Remember, Sangoma things, and then she's a Christian. Now she's a Sabbath keeper. And since she was new, I think she was very zealous about this thing. There's no cooking on Sabbath. That thing was ridiculous to me. There's no cooking. I did not understand. Remember, I know that this church is a Sabbath. However, the practices that are there, I did not know them. So when I hear that you should not cook, this is weird. I said, no. And then she said, no, you should not cook. And remember, I don't attend that church. She's telling me that I should not cook, I should not do laundry. We're going to church. I said, all right. Then they go. Then I will do laundry. When they come back, my laundry is even dried. You don't know whether I worked or not. And then on Sunday, I wake up, go to my church. So there was that confusion now in the house to say someone is going to this church, now someone's going to this church. Unlike the previous one where just a mixture of things, but when she do things, we are doing the same things. So now I was now growing, becoming kind of, I can choose now. So I rather go to my church, just go to your church. So that was the life. However, there was this day when the music came with full force. When the music came with full force, I asked my younger brother if they do sing these songs in his church. This is the Sabbath church. I knew the church is the Sabbath church. So he said, yes, we do sing these songs. And I said, I want to visit you for these songs. Because when I read the message of the song, the message was so nice. Hymn number 2, the king is at the door. Wow. Coming soon.
Okay.
And then talking about the things that are happening in the world, that shows the signs, that shows that Jesus is at the door. The music, like the message.
Wow.
Hymn number 132, at the cross, Jesus, keep me near the cross. You know, and then hymn number 136.
The precious fountain.
Yeah, precious fountain and all those things. And then hymn number 136, the one that speaks about where it leads me, I will go. That song was just like these 3 songs are the ones that play the most significant role in my life. Because they're the ones that I was visiting. I said, wow, I want to visit your church so that they may sing these songs. So I visited the church. Yeah, praise the Lord. I asked another brother to raise his hand to ask for those songs. And they were singing those songs. The music was so nice. Yeah. I had never felt such melody.
Wow.
You know, because the bass, you know, it was before Gogo Machevele.
Okay.
fell asleep.
Okay.
And he was singing bass, sitting at the back.
Okay.
So everything was just nice.
Ah.
This music is nice. It's nice.
And you requested this music when you arrived there.
Yeah, when I arrived, I asked someone to ask that this music are saying, because of course I observed and I see they're singing hymn now. Since a person just raised their hand and you just choose hymn number 5 and then they sing. I said, oh, what's this song?
Okay.
So they sang, and then there came a time of separation of classes.
Oh, that was still in the morning.
Yeah, that was still in the morning.
Okay.
And then the classes separated. I went to the children class, and then Sabbath, children class. And then they came, they said, how old are you? They said, no, you're not supposed to be here. So they took me straight to baptismal class. Yeah, so in that class, I was the only one who was new. Then the rest were Sabbath keepers already.
Okay.
So the church elder, she just, when she saw me, because I later on discovered that they were praying for me to come to the church to follow my grandmother.
Okay.
So the church was praying that I should follow the footsteps of my grandmother.
Okay.
But I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, but now it makes sense why I was being troubled all along. The music, the issue of the Sabbath. I mean, when they were reading the law Sabbath, and I know that the Sabbath is this church, all these things were troubling me. I believe that their prayers also played a significant role. Then what happened is that day she went straight to the Sabbath. She taught about the Sabbath. Because how do you explain the person is just coming for the first time? And then I think the Sabbath, I think it was lesson number 12 or something like that. How do you go to lesson number 12 to teach the Sabbath?
Okay.
To a person who just came first time.
Yeah.
So she just planned it to say, you know what, this one needs to learn about the Sabbath. And remember, the Sabbath issue was a problem previously. And now she's teaching about the Sabbath. And she's asking questions.
So you're shocked.
You get to answer as well, and you're shy, of course. They ask you, which day is the Sabbath day? I say, I don't know. And then they open the verse, and others are even adding there. How to add. That was a wonder to me. Wow, this is amazing.
Wow.
Then they answered my question that the Sabbath day is Saturday, according to the Bible. Okay. They were asking me simple questions like, why do we celebrate Good Friday? Then you answer, no, the day is the day in which Jesus died. I said, all right, that's true. It was when? On Friday. Then they opened Luke chapter 24, verse 54, which shows that it was Friday, preparation of the Sabbath. So the Sabbath was about to begin. Then they asked, according to Exodus 20, verse 8, the Sabbath is the 7th day. And the Bible now is telling us that Friday was the preparation day of the Sabbath. So the 7th day has to be Saturday instead of Sunday. On Sunday is the day in which Jesus resurrected from the grave. So from those verses, the Bible itself explained to me that the Sabbath Saturday is not Sunday. Then I didn't take a decision right there. I went back to the church, divine service. I didn't hear anything, of course. I was just but afternoon was nice because that's where now people were asking questions and all those things were just like, wow, you can ask questions and they say, no, feel free. The Bible study. So you ask questions, you interact. If we don't know the answer, we are going to answer you from the Bible. If we don't know, we'll just tell you we don't know. We go and start. Then after the service, they said, you know what, you should visit again. I told them, no, I will never visit again to this church. I am a member of this church. So, of course, there was a joy and celebration and so forth.
Oh, you said I'm no longer visiting?
Yeah, I'm now a member of the church. So when I said I'm no longer visiting, they were sad because such a response is
yeah. You had a horrible day.
Yeah, it's a horrible day. But then when I said I'm now a member, they were very happy. They were very happy, like they were so happy.
Wow.
So there was such a welcome in the church. There's a welcoming there, and you can see that there's that family type of, you feel that these people, you are familiar with them. These are your female members. This is what I like about the church. It's not like the church where you're just there, you go out, the pastor does not even know your name. Even others in position, they don't even know your name. You're just there, and we're not even men, but they don't know you. So it was different now. In this church, this is another experience. There are songs that are nice, and then you have people who are nice in the afternoon. I mean, after the divine service, they're shaking your head, you're shaking hands. After shaking hands, they come to greet you and they're happy, they're smiling, and all that was just different from what I was experiencing in the other church.
Wow.
So I was hooked. I was hooked. I didn't even wish to go back and say farewell, bye bye to the other church. No, I never went back to say bye bye. From there, as I told them that I'm now a member, it was in September, same month. I never went back to the church. I became a member of the church.
Wow.
Yeah, so every Sabbath I would go. Of course, it was awkward.
So same day.
Same day, I took a decision to say, you know what, I'm now attending this church. And my grandmother was happy, she was smiling. It was like everything was just a blessing.
So the Sabbath issue clicked in you, or what? What made you make a decision? I mean, that was scary.
This is what I can't really explain. To say what exactly that made me to make a decision. Like in that church, I felt at home.
You just felt at home, like, yeah.
During the baptismal class, I learned that the day of worship is Saturday.
It's
So
Saturday.
obvious,
Yeah.
I knew, okay, the
Okay.
day of worshiping God is not Sunday,
It's
it's Saturday.
Saturday.
That was clear.
Okay.
And in the afternoon, I don't remember what we were studying about, but I think also that played a role. However, the music, as I'm emphasizing, I loved the music. I enjoyed the music. So there was an element of Bible study that I was enjoying. People are friendly. Everything was just nice. I had no fault against the church. Of course, I was not looking for any fault. I was there for music, and I got the music. I got the Sabbath. Now I decided to say, you know what, I'm not going anywhere. And another thing that I think it also played a role is the children in that church, they knew English.
Okay.
They were taught English. So what was funny is all of us are Tsongas, but someone is preaching in Tsonga and there's preaching in English and there's a translate. And they do that for the sake of grooming the children to grow up knowing English.
Wow.
So it was something that I struggled with. I struggled a lot. I didn't know English at all. When I say it all, I knew only the basics of how are you, I'm fine, where are you coming from? And the rest was history. So because of that, of course, I was challenged in that church. This is the element that I didn't mention. I was really challenged because when I saw a child reading a Bible in English, and the facilitator in the afternoon, the Bible study, asked the child, what do you understand? So in my mind, I'm thinking, I wasn't going to answer if I read in English, because I could read at school. I used to pass English very well, like 80%. But when it comes to speaking, that was an issue. So I will pass writing. So reading, I will read. But now when they say, what do you understand? I wasn't going to answer. And the children are answering. No, I understand this. And I was reading in tongue and I see, wow, this person knows English. So that challenged me to say I need to know the English. So I think it's one of the things that play the role as well to say, wow, this church, you are being educated. Yeah. Yeah, you get education there. So,
and you're right, because I remember my cousin once told me something. He said, hey, Pyramid, some of us are not fortunate like you. I said, what do you mean? And I mean, this man is a rich man. My cousin is very rich. I mean, he's the richest relative we have in our family. When we talk about rich, we mean like he has money, money, the cars that you dream of driving. I don't even think I will ever drive those cars that he has. That's how rich he is. But he would say something like, "You are blessed. You got we go to school only once, but you go twice. What do you mean?" says, no, Rena, when we go to school, when we go to church, it's another school. Your church is a school. You are educated twice. That's why you're far ahead of everyone. I'm like, wow. Okay. It was a shock to me what he was saying, because I mean, I don't know anything else. So I couldn't understand what really he's talking about. But I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
No, I can attest to that. That's true. It was an education, like a school to me, where you learn. I went back knowing Genesis 1, at least, because through the children who were doing Genesis 1, then the another child comes in English saying in Genesis, let there be light, blah, blah, first day, second day, third day. So at least I learned something. Yeah. So when I went back home, me and my grandmother, my young brother were now Sabbath keepers now.
Wow.
So it was just nice things. We're just happy, all of us.
Wow.
The following Sabbath, I go back to the church. On Sunday, I didn't go to the church, to that Presbyterian church.
Okay.
So it's ended there. I never went back. I was now attending this church. So my focus was on this church. And then it happens that there came a mission camp. So there was a mission camp which was organized in one of the village which was near to Malamle.
Okay.
Which we call it Jerome.
Okay.
So there was a mission camp there. And then they said that you need to attend the mission camp so that you may be with other youth. So there were many youth there. So I went there as well to the mission camp. And remember, I'm still new. English is still a problem. Still new in the church. I have no idea. I'm just So I went there. When immediately I arrived to the place, I saw. It was before I knew him as Mr. Swartz.
Okay.
His skin color was a problem. Just by seeing him, I said, oh, English, yeah. English, yeah.
Oh, you could just see from his skin
I
color.
could
Yeah.
see him, yeah.
There's no.
Then I arrived, I took my bag, and then they welcomed me. How are you? Fine, and you? So, yeah. When I went to drink water, I met the sister. And then the sister started asking me questions. I answered, I'm fine. Where are you coming from? From Yavan village. And then she started asking me other questions to a point where I was just doing like this. I didn't hear. Then the other brother saw that, hey, this man is not hearing anything. Then he came. Then he started translating for me. And then I said, no, my brother, let me go home. It will not work. I don't know English. I need to go home. Then he begged me. He said, no, you learn, blah, 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 and so forth.
Wow.
So
you actually felt that.
Yeah, I wanted to go home because English was a problem, like a serious problem. So I said, let me just go home.
So everyone around you was talking English.
Yeah, it was just English. Even those who were coming from the same church, they are also speaking English. So there was no one to sit down and relate to. And the ones who are even coming to you, showing some interest in you, are people who speak English, coming from far, Polokwane, all those areas. And they are the ones who are coming and say, hey, how are you? Hey, I want you to teach me song. From someone who can't speak English. So it was a serious problem. So he begged me, I stayed.
Wow.
I wasn't hearing anything. Well, at least I was supposed to get something, but I didn't get anything. It was in the field. Because at least in the field, someone is preaching in English, then there's a translator. So you are there. However, instead of me listening, I was busy sleeping. During the services in the camp, I would be sleeping. So that was my life. And sometimes they will force me to comment, and I will just say, I understand that until the gates and there. I couldn't proceed. Yeah. So that was English was a problem to me.
Wow.
Yeah. But
yeah.
I pulled through. I think towards the end of the camp, I was becoming way better. I was becoming way better. I was now learning English now. Yeah. And I remember even the crusade that was being which was held there. I was attending the crusade, but English was still a problem. Even though there was a translator, still I wasn't focusing. I was sleeping every time, sleeping. I remember the one who was running the crusade. It was when I stood up for baptism. It was something else. I did not know exactly whether he should baptize me or not. But you can't really deny a person who is convicted without a conviction. I wanted the baptism not because I'm convicted. Really, I just want the baptism. So yeah, and on the 24th of December, was baptized, and then I became a member of the Seventh Day Adventist Church, which was known as Sabbath Church. Yeah. So that's how I became a member of Seventh Day Adventist Church.
Makes sense. Wow, makes sense. Wow, that was interesting.
Yeah. But then there was this thing which was also interesting in my life, which I think is very important, especially for viewers. Now, as I'm a Sabbath keeper, I go around and I preach, do door to door. I've done several door to door now. And I find people who say they can't come to church because of dress issue or clothes. I don't have clothes because, yeah, this church was on Sabbath, they look very good, very beautiful. So if you're poor like me, you will say, should I go there? So I was very poor, and it has never been a reason for me not to go to church. I will go to church with my clothes, the one that I had. I remember every Sabbath I would wear a jean and a shirt which I was given by my uncle. And my uncle is big, so it was a big shirt, and I will tuck it in. I hope you can picture that. Tuck in, go to church. Shameful, of course. People are looking at you. Like you feel like the whole world is looking at you. When you join this church, somehow you feel like the whole world is looking at you. And the way I was dressing, it was abnormal. So I was so ashamed, but I would just go either way, regardless of whether people are seeing me or not. So dress was not a hindrance for me to go to church. And as a result of that, I see that the Lord started blessing me. I desired to have a suit. It was just a desire. I didn't even kneel down and pray. It was just a desire, but at least God rewarded my faithfulness in just making sure that I'm consistent of what I have. I wear what I have, I go to church. And I even tuck in. I look good. Though I don't have clothes, but I still look good. So the Lord started blessing me. And then I finally had a suit. And it was the first day when I had the suit. It was the first day I was preaching in the church. I was given a divine service. So the sermon was very powerful.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It was a powerful sermon. I was very excited. I was in the mood. I preached that day.
Wow.
To a point when we came out, like all the church members were coming to me. Wow, thank you for the message.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was the first sermon.
So then, like, because I know that when you went back to high school, you're now in high school, right?
So that happens when I was in grade 7.
Okay.
And then the following year, 2018, remember I was baptized on the 24th of December, 2016.
Okay.
So 2017, when I was in high school, that's when but still I was still new in the high school, in these things.
Okay.
So even at school, I was so calm.
Okay.
But there was something that people noticed. I was very different from everyone.
Okay.
Now I was more different. So the news spread. I was known in my village as someone who fight, of course, the respect was there, but I used to fight, I used to dance. But now they said, oh, that guy is so cool. So the news spread everywhere in my village that, hey, this guy, we don't know what happened. He's changed completely. And then I remember this So I used to follow the rules of the school. So I will tuck in when I go to school and put a tie and make sure I look proper and my shoes are polished and I get there on time. So I remember during break, I don't know whether it was the second week or third week or second month at school, I don't remember. The principal, he came from his office directly to me to shake my hand. He came and then he shook my hand. And then I was shocked. Obviously, when a principal comes to you, you tremble. What does he want?
What have I done now?
What have I done now?
This can't be normal, you know.
And even the children, they are looking. When he was coming, they're shocked. What's going on? Then he came, he shook my hand. So I'm the only one who heard what he said. They didn't hear anything.
Wow.
So he shook my hand and said, "Keep it up." Then he left. Then I knew that he's referring to. There's no other. Yeah. So I kept it up. Yeah, no, I was serious. Grade 8, grade 9, that's when now fire was coming in. So in grade 8 years, I would teach others who it was not like, did not want to be public, like to be known.
So because remember you did not know anything about the truth, man. When did the truth really for you to be able to now begin to say, I want to share it with others?
So what happened is I wrote notes.
Okay.
Now, writing notes is very important. Even if you are not hearing what you are even if you are not hearing, at least write notes. It's very good. Of course, I will hear some parts of English. Not that I was not hearing anything complete, just that the issue was speaking. Of course, there were other things that I was not hearing, but so I wrote notes. Writing a topic, it's good. You just write a topic. And then you write verses under that topic. Sometimes I'll write some notes behind, like next to the verse, just indication. So when I got home, what I did is I was opening the Bible, my Tsonga Bible, and my English Bible. And the reason for that was for me now learning English and studying the Bible at the same time.
Okay.
That's how I was studying my Bible.
Wow.
So I will read a verse in Tsonga, and I understand it. Then I read. I remember I was reading in First Corinthians where it said it is expedient, and I wanted to understand what does expedient mean. So I will read it in Tsonga to find out what does this word means. You know, sometimes you read in the Bible, it says bowels. You want to know what does this word means. You know, all those things. So I will do that and compare and compare and compare and compare and compare. So that's how, and the verses will stick to my mind. When I read the verse, I will make sure that the verse stays here. And it was easy, of course, for the verse to stay in my mind because of how I was comparing. I was reading this verse in Tsonga and then in English just to compare, to understand also, and also to learn English. So that's how I was studying the Bible. I was studying the Bible and I was learning English. So when I got to school, okay, I was going back to those notes. I will read. Then I'm doing the same thing. I was very zealous. That zeal, I wish I can have it still. So when I go to school, I'll start sharing with people verses from the head. And people were now shocked. Oh, wow. I could share at least the truth that I had was the Sabbath. So we share the Sabbath. And then people will get that one very well to say, all right. Oh, where did you learn this thing? And all those things. So people will get interested to come to my church to visit. Then in grade 9, I became a fire now. To a point where I was starting to challenge even the pastors. There were those who were claiming to be pastors, of course, in the school. So I would go one by one and challenge them now. Because I could stand for my for my case. So when I bring an issue, I knew I'm going to stand for it. And you know, when you challenge this pastor and they're able to stand and then he failed, that was giving me confidence. So I'll do more now to others. Then the others will come to me and challenge me to say, you know, the Bible says, eat the fruit, you know, their understanding of the fruit. And then I will challenge that idea using the Bible, and then they will fall off. Then because of that, that was now giving me confidence. So I was rising now to a point that when teachers who claimed to after teaching the subject, they will start going to the Bible. Such teachers, I will challenge them. So when I challenge them and they fail to answer, well, now I'm gaining more confidence. To a point where I went to one of the leader of the assemblies who organizes, who preaches. I went to them. I said, I want to preach also. And so they knew me holding the Bible, someone who holds the Bible. When I go out, I'll be holding my Bible. During break, I'll be holding my Bible. It was quite weird though. But to me, it was not weird that back then. I wanted them to see that I am a Christian.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would go around holding a Bible. So if they come and ask a question, I will just answer them. So when I answer people, I was not that I will come back. I need to give you a verse right now. So where is the Bible? Is here. I have the verse in my mind, but I need to have the Bible so that I may open and show you from the Bible. So you will find that during break, some people will eat fast to come to the circle there. Then I will be teaching them. And they're hearing things there. So teachers were challenged and then gaining confidence. So the first time I went to stand in front of those of the students who were more than 800, probably close to 1,000 or more than 1,000.
I mean, Tamana High School has a lot
Yeah,
of
there
students.
were
It takes a lot
lots
of villages.
students,
Yeah.
because many villages they go there because the school performs well. So there were many. And then I stood there. Of course, I was trembling. It's the first time, but the message came out. The message came out, and others started coming to me. Those whom were not even close, they started coming to ask questions now about the law of God, because I taught about the law. You need to keep the law, fear God. That was the first sermon I preached there. Fear God. What does it mean? And remember, you're given 3 minutes. While other pastors were given 10 minutes, myself, they said you have 3 minutes. They were undermining me. Yeah, but
they just wanted you to, they thought you would not do much anyway.
Yeah. So within that time, they knew that they need to fear God. What does it mean to fear God? And I'm quoting the Bible, is to keep his commandments. And I showed that you need to keep the law. Of course, I didn't show the which law, there were no applications. But that put questions in someone's mind. Others were now coming to say, you talk about the law. The law was abolished. Then we start going to the Bible. Yeah. So that was basically what was happening. I used to fight with other pastors. On Facebook, I was a problem. So I will trouble people, showing them that going to church on Sunday is not biblical. Then they will come.
I remember you even had, I remember watching you on Facebook, and I see this guy has got Sunday pastor started following him, and it's fire there.
It was a serious fire. And those who were at school, they will come to me because I will butcher their prophet. Because I did not mind to post there and say Bushir is a false prophet. Just you put it with big words, of course, just to attract them. Bushir is a false prophet. Ask me why. When you enter there, the comments, I'm proving why I'm saying it's a false prophet. So they would fight. So I remember one of the guy who was claiming to be a pastor. He came to me. He wanted to beat me. So on Facebook, we had concluded that he's coming to beat me tomorrow at school.
Wow.
And then I said, all right. So I was at school. I was busy reading verses to comfort myself. All who will live godly in Christ shall suffer persecution. So I was ready for persecution. I was ready to be beaten.
Wow.
So as he was coming from far, and I see him coming. So as he entered,
came.
yeah, he came. But as I see him coming, so I said, so you want to beat me because I told you the truth? And that basically was motivated from Galatians chapter 4, where Paul said that I might now became your enemy because I told you the truth. So I told him, is it because I told you the truth? Now you
was
want
he
to
a student?
Yeah, I was a student. I think I was a grade 12 student.
Okay.
So he came.
Wow.
And then
So he's a pastor who wants to beat you.
Yeah. That's funny. I don't know how we read the Bible. The pastors can beat you. Even though Jesus said you shouldn't do that. So he came. But when he came now, it was awkward. Where did you start to beat me? So I told him, you want to beat me because I told you the truth. They said, no, I want us to talk. I said, what are we talking? He said, no, you should not do that on Facebook. You can't say that Bushir is a false prophet, and Angel, there was a prophet around there was called Angel. I told them he's a false prophet. They said, you will be arrested. They said, no, the Bible is very clear. What they are doing is not consistent with the Bible. So I showed them there are tests for prophets. You can go to the Bible and check. They don't qualify. They are not true prophets. So we spoke, we didn't agree, he just left me. Instead of beating me, he didn't. So I will go to the other pastors and challenge them until to the point where, of course, the other pastors, they left. But there was a time where they did not want to be with me, next to me. They are so isolated themselves from me because I had my own doctrines.
Wow.
I will go to the book of Daniel, and then there I knew that no one will. If I want to challenge, if a pastor seems to know better, and then I see I don't want to be brought down here, so I will go to the book of Daniel.
Wow.
And hit them hard. So I knew it's done.
Okay. Because you know they don't
They don't
nothing.
know. They
They
know
don't
nothing.
know anything about the book of.
So-
They don't even touch it.
At school, I was a trusted student. Remember, school-wise, I mean, in a sense of like obeying the rules, all the teachers, I'm a wonder. When I preach at the assembly, teachers will come to me also to inquire
Wow.
what I taught. And I remember another teacher asking me to actually present other issues that touches the teachers coming late, that is stealing the time of the school, blah, 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 blah. Because I was teaching the law myself. I was teaching the law. I wanted to revive the school. So he would come.
I remember hearing, hey, man, this young man is telling the whole high school upside down, but
Yeah, so that was just in grade 9. Grade 10, it was worse because other pastors started falling off because people were now looking at me as the pastor. The rest were not pastors because they were claiming to be pastors, they're preaching and they just want money. But myself, I did not want money. That is the first thing that they saw. All right, these are not true pastors. Another thing, people were falling and then there were demons in high school. But in my time, in my high school, no one was demon possessed and falling and so forth, but we were praying. Another thing is, other pastors they will preach, but they will be busy with girlfriends and changing girlfriends and all those things. So people, they know what is right, really. So they can see that this is not right. You can't, as a pastor, you can't behave like this. So myself, I did not have a girlfriend. So I was the more trusted one who obeys the school's rules. Who the teachers, they regard me as highly, everyone. So I was just a pastor from grade 8. Anyone from grade 8 to grade 12, to a point where like they don't know my name. My name is just a pastor. So I was the pastor of the school. So when I was in grade 12, they actually cancelled even other preachers to come. I was the preacher. Maybe once a while they will just ask the preacher to come, but I was the preacher. On Sunday I was preaching. Monday, Friday I would preach. So I was the preacher then of the school. And also I will go class after class teaching.
wow.
Teaching. And other pastors, they will not even stand.
Wow.
Yeah, when they try to shout, because I wasn't really shouting. Sometimes I will shout, but the content was, they did not have a content. So myself, I had the content.
I remember one person telling me, "Hey, this high school people find it difficult even to do these things of girlfriends because this young man is terrorizing everyone."
Yes, I will go to those texts. Jesus said that before he comes, people will be marrying and drinking and what. Then I will hit hard on alcohol, and there are teachers who drink, and they are there. And I'm hitting hard on alcohol, hitting hard on smoking, and there are teachers who smoke.
Yeah.
Hitting hard on miniskirt. I didn't play with that thing. Miniskirt. I show them you can't wear miniskirt. These things of kissing before marriage, sex before marriage, all those things I was hitting hard. Masturbation, I was hitting hard. Of course, I was using the verse out of context, but they got the message. They got the message. So it was tough. So the message was not to smooth anyone. It was straight testimony. You can't be doing this. And those are the things that they were doing after the school. They're together, they're kissing, they're what. So I will drill them hard there and show them you can't. And tell them you are being beaten by someone who didn't even pay lobola for you. The parents, they don't even know him. But tomorrow you even wake up and you go to him and it was not making sense to me. How can you do that? Yeah. So it was tough. My high school was tough. But of course I faced challenges. I faced challenges. The principal, they didn't love the messages that I was preaching. He hated the church because I was not going to school on Saturday. So it was a serious war between me and him. I remember after he announced that everyone should come to school on Saturday. And then everyone agreed there. But all right. Then myself, I couldn't do it publicly there because that I won't come. So I went to him immediately. I said, Mr. Principal, I heard the announcement. And unfortunately, I won't make it to be here on Saturday because I go to church on Saturday. I keep the Sabbath. And then he said, what do you mean? I said, yeah, that's what I do. It's my religion. So my religion does not allow me. Basically, I said, the Bible does not allow me to come to school on Saturday. So he knew already because there were others who were Sabbath keepers before. So he knew. So he tried to fight it. It didn't work. Actually, he refused. He said no. And then I refused also. That principal, it won't work. He told me, will come to my church members. These things will go far if I don't want to come to school on Saturday. Then I said, it rather go far, but this is my faith. It's not the faith of my pastor. Even if you come to my church and my church elder says, yes, you can come to school on Saturday, I won't. Even if you come to my parents and my grandmother, I won't, because this is my belief. And I said, no, I'm not saying anything whether you should not come or what I'm saying is you should come, but now you can go. So I left. They thought I was playing. On Saturday, I didn't go. Then he called me. Actually, he didn't call me. He just left it like that. But there were events which he will intentionally so pay money for my seat, knowing that I won't go. And he will motivate that to say, I will pay the man for all the seats, so everyone should come. And I knew he was just speaking to me. But as he was speaking, generalizing, he finally singled it to me. He said, Ntsako, you need to come. Your seat has been paid. I didn't say yes or no. I just looked at him. I kept quiet.
So the other students were aware of this Sabbath issue.
Everyone knew. Basically, everyone knew. I taught it, most especially everyone who was with me from grade 9 or grade 8 to grade 12. So in grade 12, basically, I was preaching to everyone, even those who were not in the same class. So they knew that Sabbath is a day of worship. Because I would stand up in the class and tell them, did you know that going to church on Sunday is not biblical? Then they say, what do you mean? It's not there in the Bible. Prove to me. Here's the Bible. Because I was going with the Bible. So they couldn't prove. They couldn't prove.
Wow.
So they knew. I taught about the Sabbath. I taught about many things. They knew.
So in high school, you always, during break, you always had a study with others. There were people who would come to you and
who will eat quickly, come. Then if there were other teachers who will actually enjoy. Maybe one teacher comes, ask about marriage stuff, go to the Bible, tell them, yeah, need to marry. So I was actually elevated.
You were teaching even the teachers.
Yeah,
it might have felt powerful, I tell you.
They would call me to the staff.
I was in high school. I remember high school days. I could not even dream of doing something like that. It was not even possible.
Myself, that was my dream. when I was praying for such opportunities. To say, Lord, I want to speak to a congregation. Then I went and asked, and then they gave me, I was speaking to a congregation. I said, oh, praise the Lord. I said, Lord, I want to speak to the staff members. So because I was not coming to school on Saturday and all those things, they finally called me. Actually, they didn't really call me. I was just, when a teacher sends you to get something, then everyone, the staff, like it's like they were discussing it. So they saw me. So another teacher asked me, so, what's going on with you? Why are you not coming to school on Saturday? So I looked at her and I knew that this requires time. So I asked her, "Are you sure you want an answer?" She said yes. Then I told them, no, according to the Bible, the day of working and so forth to do my personal stuff is not Saturday. All the other days were given them according to the law. Then I quote Exodus 20, verse 8. So it says, you should remember this day to keep it holy. It's holy. It's not my day, it's the Lord's day. So then they got that. They couldn't challenge that. They just said, so what will happen when you get to the university? Because sometimes they write on Sabbath. And I said, I won't write. That shocked. They said, what? Yeah, I just won't write. And they said, all right, let's not delay you. And everyone will stop doing their business. And they would look at me and listen on what I was going to say. And I told them, I will never go to school on Saturday. I will never work on Saturday. Then I left.
Wow. Wow. So all this truth that you are now teaching at school, you learned it from going back to study your notes, or what was happening? Like, how did you grip this truth so much that it really had an effect in your life?
So each and every year, that mission camp which I mentioned previous was happening each and every year. So there was a man by the name of John Sifat. Now it's Mr. Sifat. So this man, in the following year, the second mission camp, when others went back home, me and him remained doing door to door, going finishing up their lessons which they didn't finish in those houses. So he gave me a proper challenge. Challenge of saying, when I come, he will go out. Then he says, when I come back, you remember that house? We're going to teach state of the dead, or we're going to teach the Sabbath. So you should know how to teach the Sabbath from your head. Not
What do you mean? What do you mean from your head?
I mean from the head in the sense of the verses should come from your head.
Okay.
So you should know all the verses.
Okay.
It's a Bible start, but you should know all the verses. You should not write the verses on the notebook or on the paper. No. So he refused that I should do that. Then I said, this man is crazy. So I wrote my notes on the paper. I slept the whole until he came back. He said, "Are you ready?" I said, "Yes." Went to the field, and then things turned upside down there. I saw the paper, and then he stopped me immediately. He took over the lesson. And that was very hurtful to me. How can you do that? It was, I did not understand. How can you do that in front of people that are trying to teach? You are stopping me from teaching because I have notes. No. So I insulted him. I was angry. Afterwards, I kept quiet. I was hurt. As we were going home, I insulted him. I told him, you can't do that. And then he said, no, you cannot use the paper to teach. You cannot do that. You need to show that you know what you're talking about. So I took the challenge. He didn't give up on me. Of course, that day was hard because I dealt with him. But he didn't give up. We went to another house. He said, yes, the house. I will help you. Don't worry. Teach. Took the lesson. I taught from the head, and it was waking. And he was helping. As he was helping, I'm also learning. Oh, so this verse fit here. This verse fit here. Until like I was able to teach everything from my head. I did not prepare. Like now, when I go to the field, I don't prepare that I'm going to. When I do door to door, I sit down and prepare. How am I going to teach these people? No, I just take the Bible and go. But at that time, I did not like it. But now that's when I realized that wow, it was necessary.
Why is it important? Why do you feel it's important to teach from memory and not from a paper? What do you notice any difference between the two?
Yeah, the issue is we're living in a time where, actually, I think someone has expressed this. And they told me to say, you meet people who think that these things that you are teaching, because we fight in the field sometimes. So they will say, go back to your past, because if it's from the notes, you really don't know what they are teaching. So when they ask you a question which you don't even have a verse there to answer that question, so you're stuck. And then what will they say? They will say what is on the paper you don't know, or what they're teaching you don't know. Maybe your pastor wrote it for you. So they will send you back to your pastor.
Wow.
So that
Yeah, go back and learn properly.
Yeah, go back and learn. And they are not, they don't have notes. No, they're just opening the Bible. To some of them, they just open the Bible. So you need to know your stuff. So I had to learn. I saw the benefit. Now I can see that, you need actually, when I see others struggling and trying to connect the verses, tomorrow we're teaching about this, therefore we need to find verses myself. I just go with the Bible. And people feel like you speak with confidence. Even when they ask you a question, you don't need to say, I'll have to go and check, or I just go straight to the verse, and the verse will answer the question directly. And that gives you that
gives you a lot of confidence.
confidence, and they trust you.
And it becomes more powerful.
Yeah, it becomes more powerful. And also it's easy for them to trust you. Wow, he knows what he's speaking about.
Because I mean, I remember even in our church, when I came back from I was working by then. When I would come back home and then find there are a lot of new members. You were baptizing new members. I mean, our church grew at that time. During your high school days, like we had a lot of young people who joined the church, and because of those, and I was surprised. What is he doing? This one guy.
Ish, we praise the Lord, because as I'm saying, everything that I was doing was my dream, and when I see it being fulfilled, I was happy. So when I pray that I want to speak to a larger congregation, and then I get the opportunity, it was like my prayers answered.
Okay.
When I pray that, there was a time where you see people, the youth were going to going to the universities, and then I saw that just me and these two were just three here. And these ones are leaving me. I'm remaining alone again. Then I saw a need that no, we need to have youth here. So it will motivate me to push. However, of course, you can't convert anyone. But the people that have been preaching since grade 9, 10, some from grade 11, the time when I was remaining alone is the time when they were taking a decision to join the church.
Wow.
And these are people that learned maybe for 4 years or 3 years teaching, but they were not taking a decision. So I also learned a lesson that you don't give up. You can teach someone for 4 years, for 3 years, but one day they will take a stand. One day they will finally take a stand.
How did it feel when you see members joining the church because of your effort?
Oh, it was lovely. I remember when I saw some of them being baptized, I just hold the tears from rolling down.
Yeah.
It was something else.
Yeah.
When they were singing that song 151, that there will be stars in my crown.
Yeah.
It was I don't know how to describe
the
joy that was there. I got to experience the joy that takes place in heaven. Yeah, but
and then so what motivated you to say, you know what, I need to take ministry serious, and then for you to go and study ministry?
so people were saying I'm a pastor, of course, there was that, and I was denying. And then initially, when I was in primary, I wanted to be a pharmacist.
Okay.
And the motive for that, of course, to have money and expensive car, beautiful wife.
It's always like that for everyone.
For everyone. So that was the motive, really. Yeah. But then from grade 9, when I was more on this, And people are saying, Pastor, Pastor, and I was denying, I'm not a pastor, I'm just. Somehow there was a need that I saw that, I think I'm called for this. But of course, there was nowhere where I knew I could go. Then the following year, I was taken to a college. So they had a convocation there. So when I went there, I saw that, wow, there's a place where they train the people for Bible. Actually, I thought I knew the Bible, but when I went there, so I know nothing. Because before I went there, my study, like me studying, because I was limited. Remember, I was not aware even the YouTube. I did not even have a phone for YouTube. Actually, I was not really aware about YouTube and all those things. So I was just limited here. So the person whom I was looking up to in terms of knowing the Bible, it was Mr. Sfat.
Okay.
And in my mind, because we have mission camps every year, I was studying so that I may beat him. So I will start during the year, dig it, put verses in my mind. When the mission camp comes, I comment, I want to show that I know, I studied, and I wanted to beat him. But when he teaches, then I see, still far, yeah. Go back and study. I want to beat Mr. Swan. That's how I was studying the Bible. I was applying Psalms 119, I think verse 99, 98, around there, where it says, I'm wiser than my teachers. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be like Daniel, more wiser than anyone else. So when I find that, I'm still behind. So when I was now taken to that college, just for a convocation, it was just a weekend, and the students, they were using the Bible like nobody's business. They were answering questions. I think we should connect it again. Yes. So they were answering questions like nobody's business, using the Bible. Wow. Wow. So when I came back, now it was no longer Mr. Spark that I want to beat. It's like, I want to go to that college. I want to go to that college. So that's what was ringing until I applied and I went there. But the motive, what made me really to say I'm called for this, it was after I read one of the statements where it shows that Paul, when the souls that he won to the ministry was a seal. Actually, there's a verse
Yes,
also.
there's a verse. Yeah, it's a verse actually where it says
it's a verse
to say
actually.
the fruits of what I have done.
Yeah,
the souls
it's
that I
the
have won.
seal of his ministry.
Yes.
It's a proof because Paul in Second Corinthians, he wanted to show them that because there were many false teachers, and then with many of them they were also challenging Paul. This is also it's not a true apostle, it's not an apostle of the Lord. So he wanted to prove that I am an apostle of the Lord. And then he said himself to say, you know what, as a proof that I'm an apostle of the Lord, then he will show the fruits of his labor, all those. So when I look at the people that joined the church, that to me was a confirmation that, you know what, if the Lord used you to have these people, therefore he wants to use you moving forward. And I wanted to be used. Like I lost taste of any other field of study. Yeah, my focus was now directed into the ministry. So I want souls to be saved. Jesus is coming soon. So I applied, then I went to that college and studied 3 years. Then now I'm done.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
So this truth, has it been something that you still feel something that you need to give to the world?
Yeah, it always feels like that. Every time, I study the Bible or I revisit some of this truth, or of course, sometimes you can just study in your mind where you're just thinking about the concept. You see the need that the world needs this truth. More especially when you socialize with people out there and you discover how much ignorant they are of this truth. How much many people who claim that they are working for God, but they are not. Who claims that what they are doing is right, but it's not right. And I have this truth myself. I know that what they are doing is not right. It's always the case that I feel like they need this gospel. They need this gospel. So there's that motivation of they need to come to the Lord. They need to hear this truth. Like example, like the issue that I emphasized on, the issue of the Sabbath. See that many people need this thing. They are going to church on Sunday. They are very committed. Every Sunday they wake up, they go to church, and you see them that you know what, they're not following the Bible. It's not there in the Bible. Actually, this is it's not from the Bible. The Bible is very clear that someone brought it into the picture. So you're actually following the tradition of men instead of the Bible. And seeing people, sincere souls, going to church on Sunday, it pains, really. Yeah, it pains you. You want to reach there. I remember one of the day I went to one of my relatives. Just during the day, I just stood up, I took my Bible, I went there to teach them because I was head, of course, I did not apply tech. So I went straight and they were so angry, they chased me. These are my relatives, they chased me, go back. And I was head, they're chasing me, they don't want the truth and all those things. So that is always a motivation for me to help people. And like, mind you, nowadays people are drinking, they're smoking, they are into things. I look at my age mate, I see that they even look older, way older than me. Young people, they look like grandfathers and fathers. It's just a mess. And when you look at them and you see that they can benefit something, if because the church that I'm now in, the Seventh Adventist Church, which in my village we call it Sabbath, it can take you from nobodies to somebody. Because I was nobody, very poor, coming from a poor background, no one whom you could actually look up to say he has succeeded and all those things. Coming to this church, even if you don't follow my footsteps of becoming a pastoral evangelist, you are motivated to study. You are motivated to be educated. You become wise, as the Bible says in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 15, that the scriptures makes you wise unto salvation. So if in your church, because I know that many of our viewers, you find that they're attending a church, there's no Bible study there, and they're not motivated to really study the Bible, how can you be wise unto salvation? There are people who are brilliant at school, but the things that they do with their life is, you can see the foolishness of the wise. You wonder how come. Actually, in 1 Corinthians, Paul deals with that to say the wisdom of the world is foolishness unto God. And you can see in the world, I could see that even in my high school, people were wise and they are sleeping around, having children, and they end up not succeeding, achieving their goals. And this person was getting 98% at school. So that wisdom does not really benefit. So this is something that happens in my life, and the Lord took me from nobody. I'm not saying that I'm the richest or I'm rich, but the Lord takes care of me, and there's no other life that I desire. Actually, there's no other church that I can say this is home, because this church is biblical and they believe the things of the Bible. So what I'm saying to the viewers is that the things that are happening out there, the things that you are going through, and so forth. Now, if you want to know the truth, and if you want your life to be changed, to be taken from nobody to somebody, this is the church to be. This is the church to be.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
This is the church.
Yeah, no, I understand you. Wow. What a lovely time we've had. I don't even know how long we took now. I lost track of time. But I'm very grateful for your testimony and for coming through. So, because now this is your life work, I think there are some lessons you would need to come back and share with us things that you know, especially for young people. You are still very young. You're still very young. I think we still need more lessons on what young people need to do and things like that. it would be really beneficial. And I thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Pastor.
Any final thoughts before we can call it a wrap?
All right. What I can say as a final thought to our viewers out there, I can say that the reason why you are still alive, the reason why the Lord is protecting you, the reason why is, even those whose life are messed up, the reason why you are still alive, the reason why there are still pieces, good pieces that you can bring together in your life, is because God wants you to finally accept the truth. Where the Lord wants you to be. Like there's a song, His goodness is following after me. And His goodness was following after me and is following after you. You know, I myself, the one who is speaking, I faced many, or I escaped many deaths. You know, I wouldn't have been here. Like I was almost bitten by a snake. I was missed by a crocodile. I drank poison and other things. But the Lord protected me for this reason. Because I wasn't ready out there. But He protected me for this reason. So what I can say to you is that this is the place to be. This is where you can learn about God. You don't want to go to heaven without learning anything. Where you are, you know very well, as I've spoken. The pastor is the one who reads the Bible. The pastor is the one who teach. You are not exposed to the Bible. You are not motivated. Some are not motivated for education. They're not motivated to read the Bible. You are not motivated to be somebody. I mean, your life to change. Some of you want to change. I know some of you wants to change, but they don't know how. But what I can say to you is, here we're presenting God who is powerful, who can change you as long as you accept Him in your life. And even this truth, I know it's hard what I mentioned, but it's the truth. It's the truth. And if you accept it, you will not regret in your life. Like myself, I'm not regretting that I left Presbyterian to join this church. I'm not regretting. And in this church, I'm not going anywhere. So there's no regret. That's why I even want you to join, because I know you won't regret. You will actually praise the Lord. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So that's what I can say.
Norman, thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the time that we've shared together. You will still come back. We discuss other topics that I feel are relevant for our viewers and for everyone who is watching out there. It would be good really to share on these truths together. Thank you very much, and please, our viewers, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share with your friends and your relatives and everyone that you know. Please do join us on our next episode, and thank you for watching. Thank you.
Impact, changing lives. Care to hit the like and subscribe button.